Money, 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 money. Money. Money, 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 money.
Hollywood Code.
It just feels better doing this on weeks when you've just won another $1,500. It just feels better.
So good.
Go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Mike Blitz. I'm your host, Mike Wade. My co-host over there, Mike White. What's up, dude? How you living? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. I'm riding high for so many reasons, man. Tell the people. Tell the people what we're bragging on.
Oh, man. Another week, another Mike Blitz hit. At this point, I just come to expect it. Mike White and I hit our 7-leg parlay over the week. This is the second time in 4 weeks. We cleaned up. It was $10 bet, won us $1,300. I did the math. So we've done this a 7-leg parlay-ish once every week for the last 4 weeks. To hit a 1 in 150 shot twice in 4 weeks, you're looking at about 1 in 20,000 odds. So the fact that we did that is just the accomplishment of a lifetime. It might be years before we hit another, Mike. Let's just face the statistical anomaly. Let's say that.
But can't think that way.
No, I mean that totally.
We're
amazing. You and I
we're
are
on a heater. Yeah,
we are on an absolute heater. If you're not tailing the Mike Blitz at this point, that's just your problem. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, we're
a problem in Vegas.
Yeah, we are a problem. They've got asterisks by our name, cold hard cash into your pocket. So, and we'll obviously hit you with another week 5, another heater today at the end of the podcast. So make sure you're listening all the way to the end to get that. Before we do that, let's do a quick check-in. How you been the last week since last week we talked?
Man, had some ups and downs, tough times with toddlers at home, but everything feels right coming off a Bama loss, a Vols win. You win the third Saturday in October, and everything's just okay. Everything's great. Everything's peachy. I'm going to be good for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's a high. That's a win you can ride on the high for a little bit. Did you light up a cigar? Did you have any cigars?
I did. Yeah,
nice.
I did.
Solid. Those of you who don't know, go ahead, Alan. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, so I bought one. I hadn't, given the times of the rivalry, I hadn't partaken in a while. 2 years ago, we beat them. I lit one up, bought one again last year, didn't get a chance to light it up. So I smoked a year-old cigar. It's pretty dry, not that great. But in terms of the moment, it was so sweet.
Those of you who don't know what we're talking about, the Tennessee-Alabama game is called the third Saturday in October. That's when it's played every year, TSIO. The winner of this game has lit up a round of cigars, and that's going back, I don't know, 60 years, 70 years, Mike? What are we talking?
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? As long as I'm aware of.
Yeah, a tradition older than Mike and I. So classic. So if you are a Tennessee fan, an Alabama fan, and you beat that rival on that week, you get yourself a cigar, you light it up, and you take it in the moment, you celebrate. So congratulations to you. This is their second win in 3 years. There was a long break before that. So it sounds like the tables have turned on that rivalry, which just rules so much. That's just really, really great.
So sweet.
Things over here. What can I say? Went to Tremont this past weekend. That's actually where Mike and I met. Those you don't know, we had an alumni weekend up there. Tremont was beautiful. The foliage, cold weather. Guys were rocking out with guitars and gals, excuse me. Some folks brought some real nice bottles of bourbon. So we were kind of sitting around doing that whole thing. It was a Tremont full force fall weekend.
I am jealous of that. I'm sad I missed that.
No, you were missed, man. It was a lot of your and my favorite people for sure. We had an absolute blast. Hoss put on a great show. So yeah, that was great.
It was nice to text you a little bit, knowing you were there with our people and just celebrating the college football madness, the parlay win. Like I could just picture you on the porch with Robbery. Like it just made me happy.
Yeah. Vibe was really high. I will say coming back was not so great. I got home on Sunday and my wife immediately left for a work trip. So I've been alone with the kids for the last 72 hours.
Just right back into it.
Right back into it. Feet in the fire. Felt like a little bit of survival mode, but she comes back tonight. So all is well. I can focus my energy on the week 9 college football slate, which we have so much to talk about. So let's go do that. But I'm also riding high on the Arkansas road win never take for granted an SEC road win.
Yeah.
You and I both know that. So,
and I was nervous for you guys in that one. If you remember our pod last week, I was kind of teeter-tottering. I wasn't feeling confident about it. You kind of swayed me. I went all in on the Tigers, and it paid off, literally.
Yeah, it absolutely did. And honestly, the game was never close. But we'll get about that. So before we talk about that, obviously, we want to do our kind of week 8 kind of look back, see what happened on the things, and kind of talk about that, and then we'll jump into the following week. Mike, it is hot seat coaching season. We are seeing coaches, everyone are starting to think about the future. Some teams are trending way down. So we're seeing some coaches have already been handed their pink slips. Mike Houston, ECU, first coach fired. Will Hall, the second one is Southern Miss. Don't really have a takes about either of those programs, but there are more coming. Mike, hypothetical question for you. Has there ever been a coach to you that you said he got fired too soon? I really had a hard time with this question. Has there ever been a coach where you were like, no, they pulled the rug out too early, and if given more time, could have turned it around?
Yeah, actually, I think Justin Fuente, a little bit. Going back to, actually, I just pulled him up. He had 5 years, but so never mind.
The only one that I could kind of think of was Dan Mullen. I think he's a really good at Florida. I think he wasn't recruiting very high level, but he's such a good X's and O's guy. And the coaches they've had since, I think it was Boom after him. There's a gentleman who went to Central Michigan, wasn't super high on. Napier seems like dead man walking, which we'll talk about that in a minute. I don't know. I kind of high on Mullen, but for the most part, we talk about these crazy firings and these crazy buyouts. I feel like they generally get them right. Like I feel like most schools tend to know if they haven't had their guys, but be on the lookout for that. Big name programs are going to be replacing their head honchos this year. Happens every year. What happens to the Big 12? Shifting gears. What happens to the Big 12 getting an at-large bid? So obviously 1.3 weeks ago, we were talking about Big 12 is a one bid league. There's 2 undefeated teams in Iowa State and BYU, and K-State, who I think is still the best team in the league, is just sitting there, 1 loss. Do you see Big 12 as a possible 2-bid league? And if so, who's your hypothetical team that could do it?
Yeah, I think this is really interesting because although you look at the strength of the conference compared to the relative strength of some of the other conferences, SEC potentially, the Big 10 potentially getting 4 teams in each, something like that. And you look at the Big 12 and you say, yeah, absolutely, there shouldn't be an at-large, but there's still the potential of someone going undefeated throughout the regular season and coming in and only losing the conference championship game. So you got an at-large, potentially with 1 loss only in the conference championship game versus a maybe 2, maybe even 3 loss SEC team. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects the committee's decision. If you see BYU with 1 loss at the end of the season and it's in the conference championship, like, I don't know what they're going to do with that. So there's a lot of questions on how that plays out.
I kind of think K-State's still the team to beat. I think the team that will win the conference. And we picked them in our kind of Mike Blitz 12-pack 1.0. I think there's a chance that either Iowa State or BYU go undefeated. They get to the Big 12 championship. They lose to K-State, and they're sitting there at 12-1. I think you're looking at it at large. And that's kind of what I think it's going to be. I still think K-State is the most dangerous team, and for my money, going to win. But I think if you're sitting at 12-1, Big 12 runner-up, I think you might be looking at a at-large bid. Speaking of the Big 12, Kyle Whittingham, Utah head coach. They lost again, kind of ugly. I think it was like a 13-7 type game this past week. Cam Rising is now being talked about for an 8th year. If you're the head coach of Utah, whether you're Kyle Whittingham or maybe he retires and somebody else, if you're the head coach of Utah going 2025, do you even want Cam Rising? We like Cam Rising. We're Cam Rising fans in this podcast. Do you even want him back, or are you ready to turn the page and move on?
So, I think from a football standpoint, you might be saying, we need to plug some other guys in there. From a relationship standpoint, that's a really tough thing to do. I mean, this is a kid who you've been working with, coaching, mentoring for a long, long time now. But I think it would probably be good for him too to get a change of scenery, maybe plug into another program in the transfer portal. I don't know. I mean, I think I don't think he comes back. I don't think it matters, but it's interesting to think about. Yeah, I think that's time to part ways
It
for
doesn't
everyone
help that
involved.
Isaac Wilson, the current quarterback, is not good. He has really been underwhelming. But here's the thing for me is like, if you're like, okay, we're putting our eggs in the basket, Cam Rising, we're not going to do the transfer portal, we're not going to try and coach up Isaac Wilson as give him the QB1 reps. If he can't move again, if his knees or leg or ACL or whatever it is that he's dealing with, if he's not back again, how can you look your donors, your alumni, your administration in the face and say, you bet on him for a third year and he's still not playing? Like, the risk reward of that. And that assumes that Cam Rising comes back and can play. At this point, the one spot we saw him play, and he looked absolutely abysmal through a bunch of picks, just wouldn't look like Cam Rising of old. Like, there's no given he's even going to do that. I'm with you. I think it's time to move on. Go get somebody at the G5 level in the portal. See what you got with Wilson. Try and coach him up a little bit. I hate to say it for Cam. I hope he transfers and plays somewhere else and does well, probably at the G5 level, and I'm pulling for him. But I think it's probably best for both parties if Utah turns the page, moves on.
Yep.
Hot take, Mike. I got a hot take.
Give it to me.
Yeah, and honestly, it's a hot take because it kind of directly conflicts with one of your, I think, stronger college football opinions. The expanded playoff and maybe realignment has made the regular season even more electric than we could have imagined. We all thought, and I think this is your opinion, that, and I think it's a good one, reasonably sound, I think I kind of subscribed to it, was that expanding to 12 would cheapen the regular season. I don't think we've seen that at all. Give me what you got.
No, I am man enough to admit when I am wrong. I don't think any of us knew how this is going to play out. We still don't. We still don't know.
It's year one. It's year one.
Yeah, what the ramifications are going to be, how this will affect the end of the season. But so far, it's been awesome. The one thing I will say about it is, it's the playoff bubble talk. I mean, it is largely going to play itself out on the field. So we don't need to have conversations about who's in and who's out in week 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, that is going to get old at some point, and maybe the media gets tired of that and backs off that a little bit in years, 2 and 3 or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's been awesome. It's been awesome for college football. It's been awesome for the conversations. It's been awesome for some of these teams in like the 15 to 20, 25 range. It's still anybody's game, and it's really fun.
It's fun.
Yeah, I was wrong last year when I was predicting doom and gloom. It's been great so far.
Yeah, and let's be fair, you still could be right. This maybe the year 2, 3, and 4 hangover starts to change and folks start to kind of play down. But so far it's been absolutely, and realignment's helped a lot too. Oregon, Ohio State, banger. Georgia, Texas, banger. And those were conference games. Those were big 2 conference games that real stakes on the line, which were just. And honestly, I think we're all expecting to see Georgia and Texas or Texas in the playoff. Oregon and Ohio State, again, probably in the playoff. And doesn't matter. Those games were straight heaters, like college football at its best. Go ahead.
And nobody's really dead in the water at this point. Even with, 1 loss, 2 losses, there's still a lot of teams vying for a spot there and a lot of big games down the road. So there's still a lot of excitement to be had. One thing, too, it's not just the introduction of the playoff. It's not just the introduction of the conference realignment with NIL, all the players moving. There's more parity across the board. You've got teams coming out of nowhere. Your Indianas, your Illinois, your Armies, your Navies. Like, it's a bonkers year, and it's been great for the sport. It's all these ingredients have made for complete chaos, and it's awesome. We would be looking at this completely different if this were 3 years ago and we had 2, 3, 4 teams that were completely dominant and everybody else looked bad. And we would be saying, why are we going to put, this group of teams in a playoff when they don't deserve to be there? And that's not the case this year at all.
Yeah, no, wholeheartedly agree. Love it. Hot take number 2. And this, you're going to have a hard time pushing back on this one. So I don't even know if it's really a hot take. This is the best year for running back names in the history of college football. Let me give you some examples. Turbo Richard, Boston College. Cam Scatterby.
That's a guy made on. That's a guy made in like a.
Create your own player,
builder.
EA Sports. Absolutely. Yeah. Turbo Richard, Boston College. Cam Scatterby, Arizona State. Donta Wack, UMass. Fluff Bothwell, South Alabama. Those are four of the greatest running back names I've ever heard. Aaron, and I've never seen anything like it. So I think that's even mentioning guys like King Large, offensive tackle for SMU, and so many other just absolute gems out there. But I just want to put that on your radar. We got four outstanding names in the backfield, college football 2024. I got a question for you. So, defensive backs like to celebrate when they make plays, they get excited. And they oftentimes, high five, jump on the pad, give the half, do all the things, kind of strut for the audience. The new thing they're doing is they're doing this kind of hand motion, like so. You know what I'm talking about? They do this thing.
Yeah, it's a lockdown. It's a seatbelt.
Well, I got a question for you. Is it a seatbelt or is it somebody sheathing a sword?
No, it's like a lockdown, like you're guarded, like seatbelt situation.
You're in a seat.
You're locked in. Yeah, you're not to be thrown to.
I'm gonna be honest with you. This whole time I thought it was somebody sheathing a sword, which I also think is kind of cool. Like, I don't know, maybe you just got like diced up. Yeah, like somebody like putting the.
If you can't see us on your screen,
I didn't know it was a seatbelt thing until somebody pointed out to me on Twitter. That's what they were doing. This whole time, I kind of thought it was somebody like putting a sword away, which I also think is pretty cool. Just somebody has like a sword, somebody like a ninja back there defending them, and he's just like, I'm done with my.
What do you think of the Cam Ward?
I don't even know what that is.
Wave thing.
What is it? I mean, I've seen it, but
I don't know. He puts his hand over his face and he waves.
It's like, I'm not paying attention to you, and you're saying goodbye. I can't see you. And then we all know about like John Cena. You can't see me. Is it I can't see you?
I kind of like that players are embracing some of the silliness and not trying to be so hard all the time. So I mean.
I also love that we're middle-aged men and don't really understand any of it. I also feel good about that as well.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. We're in a different phase of our lives at this point.
That's okay.
Can we just get back to the
back to basics. 23 Army, 24 Navy, 25 Vandy. Those are the AP rankings of Vanderbilt, Army, and Navy as we speak today, as you listen to this podcast. Will we ever see those collection, that trio in the AP top 25 ever again? True or false?
False.
Yeah.
We will not. If you plugged in Swanee and who else? Maybe Citadel and Stanford, you would have like the 1930s like top teams.
Oh yeah. Yes. Yeah, Yale,
1950s,
Princeton,
Rutgers.
Yeah, Rutgers with the birthplace of college football. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love what Diego Pavia is doing. Vanderbilt is peaking. I mean, this. I think they are better than the James Franklin Vanderbilt teams, frankly, no pun intended. And obviously Army Navy, both laden with seniors, with two awesome quarterbacks leading their charge. Very, very impressive for all. Navy's got a doozy with Notre Dame this week, but go ahead.
So speaking of that, I've got a great fun fact for you. So Army throws it 8 times a game, has more touchdown passes than all 3 Michigan quarterbacks combined. Their quarterback, Bryson Daly, has more rushing touchdowns at 19 than Michigan's offense, defense, and special teams combined.
I love that. I love that for Army, and I love that for college football, that we all get to enjoy that. Bryson Daly is awesome. And Navy's got Kyle Horvath as well. All 3 teams have quarterbacks that are worth watching for different reasons. Bryson Daly, Kyle Horvath, and Diego Pavia all doing things.
We should be talking about Bryson Daly in the Heisman conversation right now. He should be there.
We should, but it probably like Army players of yore, he has to go beat Notre Dame to get it. I mean, I think you're right, but I think he can't. I don't think an Army quarterback can win the Heisman unless they go 13.
He's leading the nation in rushing touchdowns. So he got 5 last week. So he just passed Ashton Genty and Dylan Sampson, who are right there neck and neck. So he's leading the country in rushing touchdowns and an undefeated top 25 Army team. He should be there. Let's talk about him.
All right. Okay. Should he win it? I'm not there yet. Should he be invited to New York? Should he get a ticket? It's just down the road.
He's got to close it. Yeah, he's got to close it out. He's got to put up another, 20 touchdowns.
Yeah, and obviously, West Point is just in the road from Manhattan, so just hop in the car and drive down. Why not? He's local.
For a guy like him, you have to like break down the door. You can't have similar numbers. You have to have like unignorable.
I agree. Although
numbers.
I kind of think the AAC, which is what they play in, I kind of think it's the fifth best conference in the country. Obviously, the Pac-12 doesn't exist anymore. I think it's better than Mountain West, top to bottom. And obviously, it's not even Sun Belt, Coosa, and MAC just like aren't even close. So it's not that bad. I'm coming off of at least a drop off from the Big 12 to the AAC, in my opinion. Moving on, Blue Bloods down bad. Michigan, Oklahoma, USC all might miss a bowl this year. These are iconic college football defining programs that are all reeling. It doesn't even mention Florida State, that's 1-6. Obviously, they're not going bowling, or Florida or Auburn, which are different because they didn't have preseason expectations. Of those three Blue Bloods, and we're talking, let's focus for this exercise on Michigan, Oklahoma, and USC. Who has it the worst? Like, if you're a fan of one of those three teams, which one are you the most miserable about? And which one are you the least worried about? Like, they'll be back next year or the year after. Like, this sucks, but they're going to be all right. Give me the best.
Yeah, that's tough. I think Oklahoma is in probably the worst of the tailspins.
Okay.
They bailed on their 5-star, next second coming quarterback. They're now going back to him, which we'll see. But Brent Venables, he's in his third year?
Third year, correct. Just got extended.
Third year there. They're just not who, and you sprinkle in the entrance into the SEC, which maybe on paper doesn't mean anything, but for like fans' sake and bragging rights, really tough spot. They were handed a really tough schedule, and they're just in.
They're probably an 8-4 team in the Big 12. No disrespect to the Big 12, but like they probably figure out a way to scrap things together in a different conference. So Oklahoma's in the worst case. So for USC or Michigan, who are you? They'll be fine.
I think Michigan right now, we all knew that there would be a drop this year.
Yeah.
They lost a ton. It's a new regime completely. I'm less worried about them than anybody else. So that's just a simple, quick, easy answer.
No, actually, I'm agree with you on. I think Michigan is they'll be fine. One, they're still riding on the high of a national championship. They're still the defending national champions. They're not going to defend it this year, but they still have the hardware installed for life permanently in concrete in Ann Arbor. So they got that.
That warm and fuzzy feeling will carry you a long way.
It lasts a while. Look, the Joe Burrow year took me through the COVID year and the 2020 year. Like, so I was able to ride that high for a while. They also, their head coach, they are paying peanuts to, so if this is a thing, if Sherrone Moore doesn't work out, and I think he deserves a chance, at least another year to put a respectable quarterback under center and see what he can do. But if they decide to pivot, they quickly can, and they are still the commanding top dog or second, one beat in Ohio State in the Big Ten. So I really agree with you on they're fine. I'll zag and say USC is in the worst shape. This is year 6 for Lincoln Riley. His buyout is $88 million. That is many dollars, Michael. That is an insane amount. And the defense
got 7-leg parlays is that?
Quite a few. So I think they're in the biggest trouble. And they obviously, their stadium is still miles from campus. Their facilities are still lacking. They're not capable of beating mid-tier Big Ten teams. Like long-term, 5 years, 10 years, I'm bullish, but I think they're in for some real pain this year, next year, year after. I think they're in the worst thing. I think Oklahoma can shift gears. I'm more confident that Venables can replace COC, figure out the offense. Their offensive line is replacing all 5 guys. The good news is they're going to get 5 returning starters next year. They'll have a lot of quality backups, guys who were forced to play when they shouldn't. Same with all their position skill guys. Like, I kind of think Oklahoma's going to have a dead cat bounce next year on offense and be all right. USC's problems are more systemic. I don't know what's going on out there, so I'm the most negative on them.
Do you think one of the least talked about consequences of the Big Ten realignment is all of the travel that these teams have to do? Could that be negatively impacting USC?
How many times
seen it play out?
Yeah. Yes and no. I think it's talked about way too much. I think it's, I think these guys are led by talented nutritionists, expert strategists, people who know game film. They're pretty experienced doing this. I think for some teams, for USC, for Stanford, for Rutgers, for SMU, for Cal, I think they're doing a lot of kind of new, unexpected travel. But like, I don't think it's as dramatic a deal as they talk about it. And it gets brought up at every broadcast, oh, body clock, oh, so many time zones, oh, after the spread, this many time zones. I think that's correlation, not causation. I'm not as bullish on it as other folks are. So
I just think when you look at USC's specific location, you couldn't get farther away than going to Rutgers this week.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's nothing. I just don't think, I think it's overblown. I think it's overstated. I don't think it's nothing, though. I think it does matter.
Okay.
All right. We have to get into the autopsy because we are running late. Here we go. Week 8, another banger as usual. So go some thoughts at you. We'll keep it going. Cam Ward is awesome. Miami's number 1 offense in the country. They also, defense is really sus. Gave up 45 points to Louisville. Are they the most fraudulent top 10 undefeated team right now? Are they close to Oregon? Are they closer to Iowa State? Are they close to number 1 or number 10? Where you at Miami overall?
I think they're in the right spot, honestly, because we've seen teams with explosive offenses get carried through. Eventually you're going to have to make some stops, but with the way their schedule is, they're electric, and every team's flawed. We haven't seen any team that's completely dominant on both sides of the football, and they've got their warts, but yeah, I think they're kind of right where they should be on actually.
I hate their defense. I think it's going to cost them a game or two down.
Well, their secondary is pretty bad.
I don't know what it shouldn't. They've got talent in every spot. I don't know why Cam Ward is electric. I think right now it's kind of quick tangent for Heisman. I think it's him or Genty, and we'll see what changes in the next month. But like, I think the two of them have clearly escalated everybody else. So, and the number 1 offense in the country, you can't beat that. ACC, Miami, the U, tons of eyes. Like, that's all great. Their defense is inexcusably giving up too many yards, too many scores, leaving guys uncovered. I don't know what the story is there, but I've got real concerns about Miami's defense moving forward.
Yeah, I think when you're looking at their potential to win a national championship, I don't like it as much because you do need some defense to do that. All it takes is for Cam to have a bad game, one guy to have a bad game, and you get blown out, versus like if you can play defense as a unit, you've got more guys obviously you're relying on. So yeah.
Moving on. Georgia is back. Horns, they couldn't block them. We're talking about the Texas-Georgia game. That's not the matchup I thought this game was going to be. I thought Texas's secondary was actually going to get exposed. I thought that was a potential weakness for them because the quarterbacks they placed prior had been pretty terrible, frankly. But honestly, it was their offensive line that was the thing that they couldn't get past. Georgia had 7 sacks, 10-plus tackles for loss. They were pretty much unblockable. They gave up 1.1 yards per carry. That is Georgia. That is vintage 2021-22 Georgia type game. Mike, is there smoke now? Last week, a wise man named Mike White, who I happen to be talking to right now, said for there to be a quarterback controversy, there has to be a problem. There's a problem now. Mike, is there smoke to the highest profile quarterback controversy we've seen in many, many years? Arch Manning, Quinn Ewers. Tell me what you got.
Yeah, I think so. A little bit. I think I sent you a screenshot. Like, I don't know when it was over the weekend. It was like their fans reacting like we win this game if Arch Manning starts. So that's kind of how it starts. And
that's exactly how it starts.
A couple of the guys in that locker room to start thinking that way. And you've got distractions, you've got problems. So this is a big test for Sarkisian and the leadership within that locker room. I definitely think it could become an issue. So, I think so too. Yeah, we've got a controversy. We've got hit the panic button.
Love it for Texas. Love it for us non-Texas fans. That's great. On the other side of the ball, Carson Beck, he stunk. He threw 3 picks,
3 interceptions,
interceptions. He's actually the SEC leader with 8 INTs. I recognize he's second in touchdowns. So he's still throwing balls. He's third in yards. So he's doing a lot. He's throwing a lot of picks. I mean, he was my Heisman number 1 quarterback, Heisman pick, my number 1 quarterback drafted pick. I was really bullish on him on the preseason. He's middle of the pack in terms of completion percentage and his quarterback rating. Is he even in your top 3 SEC, just in the conference? Like if you had to say your top 3 SEC quarterbacks, is Beck even top 3 right now?
I think we've seen him play so well in the past. He's got to be right there at maybe 3-4. But
Who's
yeah,
your
their
one?
offense has
Who's your 1-2? Give me like your who's in the top for you right now?
Jackson Dart, maybe Nessmeyer,
Yeah, kind of
maybe
same.
then Beck.
Yeah, I'm saying similar. Yeah,
Um, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I think it's their offense as a whole has shown some weaknesses. Their defense continues to look good. I also think this game is a little bit of an eye opener for Texas. When you look at their schedule, oh, that Michigan win not looking as good anymore. Oklahoma
you don't
dominant
think?
not looking so good anymore. And you're kind of looking back and you're like, wow, Texas's schedule was much easier than we thought.
Right.
They didn't look good against Georgia. How good are they really? And this is the fun thing about college football is like every week we're recalibrating what we think about some of these teams.
Yeah. And I think they are not immune to that recalibration. Nobody is this year.
Not without the top tier quarterback play that we've all expected to get from them every week.
Yeah.
That they didn't get.
Right. And honestly, Beck could turn it around. Those guys could do better, but I'm looking at Beck a little sideways that I once was. I don't know if that preseason pick is gonna hold up. So obviously the last thing I want to talk before we move on to this game was the infamous PI call. You saw the call that was terrible. The fans raided down water bottles onto the field. They complained. They actually got the call overturned, which is like the worst precedent ever. That's going to be a story that kind of unfolds. We don't need to rehash. Everybody kind of knows, blah, blah, blah. Did you happen to see Matthew McConaughey's statement after the game? So Matthew McConaughey.
When I read it, I read it in his voice, which made it even better.
We're going to do that. So those of you who don't know, Matthew McConaughey wrote a statement about the incident, talking about his fans to not do that, and we are bigger than that. And so I'm going to give you a reading of this. This is not me going rogue. This is a word for word, verbatim reading of the Matthew McConaughey statement on the Texas-Georgia incident. Here we go. Longhorn Nation, and especially our DKR student section, MOC McConaughey coming at you here. First off, you were electric Saturday night when we hosted Georgia. Bravo. Let's continue to bring it. Even though our horns didn't get the W, you create a measurable home field advantage. But let's get real about that bottle bombing, the field glitch we had. Not cool. Bogey move. Yeah, that call.
Bogey move.
My favorite line by far. Yeah, that call was BS. And we're better than that. Longhorn Nation knows how to show up, show out, no other, and all things. Keep our class. So let's go forward, keeping that kind of BS and leave that behind us for good. We have to shake hands on that. Next up, November 9th, when the Gators come to town. Let's make sure they feel all the heat, can't hear the play calls, and burn their time out. But remember, nothing hits our field except that Texas fight. Till then, root hard and hook 'em. Kind of hay.
And remember, kids, nothing's cooler than staying in school.
Can we put that? Can we get a Pulitzer for that? That's the greatest statement I've ever heard from a college football fan. I couldn't be higher on that. It just
reeks of like those old G.I. Joe like PSAs.
Like. Amazing. I read that. I couldn't stop laughing. I was grinning ear to ear. One of my favorite.
Do you think he thought a lot about that? Like, that's not cool enough. Like, let me put bogey in there. Like, let me swap out some words. He's like playing with a thesaurus.
Bogey move's an amazing line. He also said we have to shake hands on that as a tweet. Like, just talking to people about that's how serious he meant. Like, you keep your word, your many word, you shake on it. I loved it. I loved everything about it. Matthew McConaughey is an absolute treasure. All right, let's move on. That's enough of that. We got to keep rolling. Napier, another nice win. You were all over this one. Beat the brakes off Kentucky. If you go 6-6, is he off the hot seat? Are you keeping him?
Gators are surging. They're kind of a dangerous team right now.
Yeah,
they're looking pretty good, and their schedule is tough. Though that's the thing. Is like they're gonna if he pulls off one of these big upsets against one of these reeling top teams who. Florida State, that game looks completely different now than it did early.
Yeah, they're going to win that game. Florida State stinks.
But they've still got Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, LSU.
Yeah.
If they win one of those, I think he keeps his job.
Well, that's what's going to take, because honestly, I think they're sitting at 4-3 now. I'm penciling in the Florida State game. I know it's a rivalry. Maybe Norvell finds something. I don't see it as a win. He's got to get one more to get to bowl eligible. The cocktail party, which is neutral site at Texas, is going to be hell. I hope my LSU Tigers get the going. We're going to the Swamp. And then Ole Miss. Ole Miss might be looks as of right now the most gettable. That game's also in the Swamp, but I think he has to get it, and I kind of think he will. I mean, I think
he will too.
I kind of think they're doing some things right, so they might get back. So keep an eye on that. Quick thoughts: Mississippi State is terrible, but I think they figured some things out on offense. They lost 24-34 to A&M. Jeff Lebby, the head coach, offensive guy from Oklahoma. Blake Shapen is done. Former Baylor quarterback we liked a lot. Michael Van Buren Jr. Just a name to remember. He's lighting it up. He's their new quarterback. I'm not saying anything. They're going to go 2-10 this year, but Michael Van Buren Jr. is a quarterback to pay attention to. Wednesday, UTEP gets a win. They are now 2 winless teams. Kennesaw and Kent State, only 2 winless teams in the country. Congratulations to the UTEP. Those are Miners? The UTEP Miners?
Yep.
Yeah, Miners. Yep. Go Miners. Michigan. Woof. They lost to a bad Illinois team, 21-7. Did you see the helmets in the Michigan-Illinois game?
I did. Those are really cool, actually.
Really? Oh man, I hated them. So the Illinois players.
Yeah, but they're cool because they're so weird.
They are so weird. So essentially, obviously, football played 100 years ago was played with these leather helmets. The Illinois team, they drew leather helmets onto the design, so it looked like they were wearing them with their old school uniforms. I thought they were cool from like a spectacle standpoint, but don't ever bring those out ever again.
It's a bad Illinois team. Illinois is plucky. They're good. And
they are plucky. They won by 2 touchdowns. Honestly, they played terribly. They should have won by a lot more. Speaking of which, Michigan, woof, terrible. They're also 4-3, and they've got 1 gimme win, I think, versus Northwestern at home. They've got 3 what I think are sure losses. Oregon and Ohio State, there's no way they win those games.
No.
At Indiana, if Curtis Rourke is back, I don't think that's a winner either. In fact, even without him, I think it's probably a win. Are they bowling? They have to get Michigan State and Northwestern. Is Michigan going to a bowl this year?
Yeah, they're going to win those 2.
Okay. K-State crushes West Virginia in Morgantown. 2 takeaways for me in this one. Neil Brown is cooked. He got a nice bounce back last year. He was everyone's favorite to be on the hot seat first fired last year. West Virginia had a nice bounce back. I think that good fortune has worn off. Number 2, Avery Johnson, who we all knew was an outstanding running quarterback for Kansas State, has really developed his vertical passing game, and it's something else. If K-State has a quarterback that can run and pass, and that defense, and that coaching, they're really, really, really good. So K-State seems to be surging. Any West Virginia K-State takes?
No, you nailed it.
Yep. Travis Hunter set out the second half. They blew out Arizona, one of our bets that paid us. Cha-ching! Love that. Good for the Buffs. Travis Hunter, Heisman run is probably over. The whole thing about Travis Hunter was he was so unprecedented that he was playing on both sides of the ball and playing at a high level both sides of the ball. If he's hurt and sitting out halves and is not on the field, his unprecedented run becomes a little bit more pedestrian. And I think he's
Which is why you don't do it. That's
correct.
The whole point. Yeah. You idiots. You can't do it. It's just, you can't play a kid, 60 snaps on one side and another 70 on the other.
The guy doesn't come off the field.
They're not machines. They're not football robots. You get hurt.
Yeah, no, I hate that. I mean,
we said this early in the season.
Yeah, and it played out pretty much exactly. They are who we thought they were. I just think his Heisman runs over. I still think he's a top 3 pick. He might be number 1 to like the Patriots or something, given his flexibility. He's not going to win the Heisman.
Fantastic player.
Yeah, I hope he still gets invited to New York. He still might be able to do that. That would be cool. What's worse? Florida State losing to Duke for the first time ever, 23 attempts. Ever. You heard that again. Duke has never beaten Florida State in football this year, or Duke not even rushing the field when they did it. What if you're a Florida State fan, which one stings more?
Well, here's the thing.
All right.
I think the history of that monumental win was lost on a lot of the Duke fans. What they see in front of them is a garbage Florida State team, and you don't rush the field against a garbage team. Yeah. So I get it. I wouldn't have done it, but is it something to be celebrated? Another like little notch, cross that out. They don't have that over us anymore. Yes.
Yeah. Duke is 6-1. They're good. I mean, well, relatively good. We'll see. All right, move on to the homers. Virginia Tech, really nice win against Boston College, 42-21. Tootin had a career day, 18 for 266 yards and 3 touchdowns. Drones made some plays, 14-18, 164, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Rushed for 40 and 2 more touchdowns. Virginia Tech's rushing attack, 370 total yards. They are just running everybody. Did get a little hairy. They were up 28-0 at half, 28-21 late third, and they pulled away at the end. Here's my question for you. For Virginia Tech, what we're focusing on for the homer section.
Yep.
The thing holding Tech back, I kind of think it's similar to Tennessee in some respects, which we'll talk about in a minute. The deep ball stuff. He's missing on deep balls. Drones can do a lot of things with his legs, much like Nico. I'm seeing him miss guys that were open. You know, balls that were catchable, balls where if they were good, they would have been catchable. Balls that were perfect would have been 80-yard touchdowns. Is Drones' deep ball inaccuracy the thing holding this offense back?
Yeah, and I don't think it's just his deep ball inaccuracy. I think it's his accuracy overall. Drones is not an accurate passer. He's never been an accurate passer. He's great with his legs. He's dynamic. He's explosive, and he can flash. But he's just not an accurate passer. It's not who he is.
Yeah.
Now, you got to find a way to win without it.
Now, to be fair, his stat line last week was 14 for 18, which is pretty good accuracy, but you have to know that the depth of target was like 5 yards or less. A lot of them were behind the line of scrimmage balls, screen passes, tunnel screens, shovel passes, just not pushing the ball down the field. I think if they're going to have a shot against Clemson in 2 weeks, it's got to be Drones hitting some of those balls. He can't be hitting one every 12. He's got to hit one of every 4, every 3.
Yeah, he's going to have to play a little over his head, to be frank.
UVA got crushed at Clemson. Couldn't run, 23 rushes, 68 yards. Kind of can we expected. Calandry got benched. Musket got 2 garbage touchdowns. They got it back to recover. Congratulations if you bet on UVA plus 21. On to UNC. I got nothing for this game. It just was exactly it happened. It happened. It was obviously what we all thought. Any UVA Clemson thoughts?
Yeah, at one point it was 38-10. Clemson's got a lot of guys in there getting some extra playing time. I mean, it's exactly what we thought.
Yep, correct. All right, let's get back to our teams. Dude, congratulations on the win. Massive, we're talking about third Saturday in October. I'm gonna let you talk about. I kind of have 3. Well, I have 3 thoughts for you, but you hit us with ours first. Yeah,
Neyland Stadium just out of its mind, electric again. One of the best atmospheres in college football. That was amazing to watch. The defense, this Tennessee defense is one of the best in college football. Full stop. Keeping you in every game. They threw it Ryan Williams 19 times. He ended up with like 7 catches for.
That was one of my 3
yards.
thoughts. Yeah.
They forced turnovers. They forced a ton of pressures. They got 3 sacks. Milroe only had a couple dozen rushing yards. They bobbled him up. Defense did everything. Offense for the Vols just showed some growth in the second half. Continued to lean on Dylan Sampson. We are so close to the top coming off this offense and looking really, really good. And that's going to be scary. But it was a great win. Loved what the Vols did, especially on defense, and showed some life on offense, what the potential could be.
So my 3 thoughts. One was the Ryan Williams thing, 18 targets for 8 catches, 73 yards and a touchdown. I don't think they have really a second trick right now. It kind of seems like that kind of meme. F it, he's down there somewhere. Just huck it up and throw it. You had to be holding your breath a little bit every time you saw them throw the ball to Ryan Williams. Just given.
I was holding my breath the whole game. It was back and forth. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, the Vols did not play well in the first half on offense. Just abysmal. And the defense still kept them in it. And then the second half was a lot of back and forth. But when the Vols got that final lead, you just knew that was it. Game over.
Yep. Second thought. Heupel made some comments about the offensive line earlier in the week, and it was like 4 of the 5 guys, and I don't remember exactly what the verbiage. I'm hoping you know. Probably you caught it, know what I'm talking about. But he was like 4 of the 5 linemen have accepted the challenge and are playing up to a level. It sounded like kind of between the things on Twitter, between the lines on Twitter, they were kind of picking on Lance Hurd a little bit. Do you know what that's about? Can you tell me can you give me some context there?
Well, Hurd's taken a lot of criticism. He's still very young in his career, and he's been battling injuries. He was out this season for a couple games. He was out preseason, and he only got a handful of snaps at LSU. So he's probably a little out of shape. He's still swimming a little bit. You know how hard it is to be a young offensive lineman. And yeah, the offensive line has really struggled the last couple of weeks. So they've been challenged both behind closed doors and publicly by
not
all
so
of the
behind.
media.
Right.
Yeah, and I think they played a much better game, especially in the second half. They pushed people around on the line of scrimmage, and Nico had some time to deliver some balls, and he missed quite a few, but he hit on a couple when it mattered, and offensive line stepped up big time. I don't know specifically what that was in reference to, but I know that they've really been under the gun. So.
Yep, that's what it sounded like, and what you said was more expecting. My third thought was the Nico deep balls thing. I mean, he hit enough to get the win. That's all that matters. You win, you matter. You play. You win to play the game, and Nico did enough to do that. The deep ball touch,
and he had some guys wide open. I mean, that was the thing. He had some guys running open. If you continue to do that, he's going to hit on more and more.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no doubt the talent that he has. He's just young. He's getting better.
Yeah, Nussmeier's a similar story. He throws a lot of deep balls that just miss as well. It's kind of thing. Another longer off season. I saw a nice Twitter thread. It was the same thing as the last week. It was like 6 or 7 Nico balls that were like the guy was open, or he was a little bit open, or just like a wide open miss. Like, just if you connect on those, 40-yard game, 70-yard game.
Yeah, we could have. The opportunity was there for that game to be at like a 45 to 20 game.
Exactly. So still bullish on really Nico. It's just that is clearly the thing. I think, like, especially because the way Hypo runs us off, and Dylan Sampson is the absolute man, one of the best running backs in the country. Just a jackhammer.
Leading the SEC in rushing.
Yeah, just
right
punishing
there with
people.
And
he sets up Nico so well for those shots, because when you start bringing those safeties down, which is what they want, and I think this is what Hypo wants to do, is run the bejesus out of the ball, punish the front seven, make the secondary commit to helping, and then bang over the top he hits them with, which is what they do, which is what Hooker and Tillman and Hyatt did so well 2 years ago. So it feels like it's just another week or two, maybe it's a month or two.
Yeah, we got an off week, and then Kentucky. I wouldn't be surprised if the offense just put up some really good numbers against a pretty good Kentucky defense.
Yeah, I think we were a little early on anointing him, but I think it's clearly to see why people are excited, and clear to see that I think a continued growth is happening. All right, good stuff. Moving on. LSU trap game narrative never had a chance. We were just better. Defense finally getting some real love. Minimal subs. We pretty much settled on every position, which is nice. We were interchanging a lot of guys. Major Burns moving from safety, where he's out in space and not great, moving to the star, which is the hybrid linebacker safety spot around the line a lot more. Has really, really been great. Zay Alexander has really proven to be one of the better cornerbacks in the SEC. Whit Weeks is the sophomore linebacker. They're calling him the Honky Badger because he's a white playmaker at LSU.
I hate that.
I don't love it either.
I hate that.
But I love him. He's amazing. And the defense is really, really gotten better. This is something I was on 5 weeks ago before, but it seems like the media has really caught up, and the LSU defense didn't give him a chance. They put that pressure on him constantly. Taylor Green couldn't scramble very much. And that was that. On the other side of the ball, Arkansas, they were known for pressure and no sacks again. Here's a fun fact for you, or a fun question for you. LSU is number 2 in the country in sacks allowed. We've given up 2 sacks the entire season, which is just unbelievable. And guess who? Yeah, Army's number 1. They've given up 1. They've given up 1, and we're probably never going to beat them.
I knew where you were going with that before you even got there.
Yeah, Bryson Daly has only been sacked once all season.
They don't pass.
They don't pass the ball, so it's not really fair. And we throw the ball a million times. So Army's probably going to.
LSU has the best. Tennessee might have the best defensive line in the country. LSU has the best offensive line in the country.
I think so,
but they can't run the ball for some reason.
We can't run the ball, although that got better. Caden Durham did get about 100 on the ground. That's starting to come along as well. Really, it's just our offensive tackles are just absolutely. And let's give Garrett Nussmeier some credit. He's gotten really, really good at climbing the pocket, finding guys, like doing that. So he's really developed as well. So that's great. All right, it is time to get into week 9. We are behind schedule. We're going to do this. Let's give the people what they want, Mike. They want to make some money.
They want the money.
They want the monies. I got a bunch of games. We're going to run through them. Either give me a pick, we'll agree, or we'll stay away. Same drill. Thursday, Syracuse, number 19, at number 19, Pitt. Pitt is -6, over under 61.5 points. Obviously, Pitt is undefeated. Syracuse is almost undefeated. They had that tough loss to Stanford early in the year, but they seem really solid as well. I don't really have a read on this. 61.5 seems kind of high. Anything for Syracuse Pitt?
I was kind of leaning Syracuse. I still think Pitt is
a little sus.
Way sus. I think I think Syracuse has the better offense, but yeah, I mean, if I had to take it, I'd take Syracuse to cover that.
Syracuse +6. I think I agree as well. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's get a Thursday early leg Syracuse +6. Friday, number 17 Boise State. This is a straight heater game. It's kind of a bummer starting at 10:30 at night. Number 17 Boise State -2.5 at UNLV. This is a playoff elimination game. These are arguably two of the better top 4, top 5 G5 teams. Over under is 65.5. So they're calling for some offense. Hodge Malik-Williams, UNLV quarterback, has been a revelation since Matt Sluka, the whole transfer weird deal situation brought out. And Boise State. Here's a fun fact for Boise State. I kind of gave it away. Who do you think is leading the nation in sacks?
Boise State.
Boise State. Damn it. Yeah, 29. They are number 1 in the country. So obviously all the talk is about Maddox Madsen, the quarterback, and Ashton Genty, the best running back in the country, maybe. It's really, really probably going to make a run at the Heisman. But their defense has this attacking turnover, make things happen. They're leading the country in sacks, was 29. I know they're on the road. I got Boise -2.5 rolling in there, covering. Good quarterback, great running back, and an attacking defense that will make this game weird. I'm thinking like pick 6, fumble, scoop, and score, something along those lines. And give me Boise to cover.
Yeah, I like Boise to cover here. I think they're the more complete team. I think this is kind of one more step in the right direction to prove that they're legit. I do think that they're semi-legit, like a playoff team. The UNLV, not quite there. Give me Boise State to cover.
All right, sounds good. All right, moving on. We've got on Saturday, number 12 Notre Dame -11.5 versus number 24 Navy at MetLife Stadium, which is home of the Jets and Giants. Over under 52.5, which that seems high for a team led by a defense and a triple option-ish flex bone attack. Any Notre Dame Navy takes?
This is a tough one for me because looking at the spread, I wish that this was Notre Dame versus Army. I would take Notre Dame versus Army with a 12-point spread for Notre Dame. I'd take Army all day on that, but I'm not that bullish. I'm not as bullish on Navy. So I don't know how this game is going to go.
Can I talk you to the under 52.5? They can score that many points. Are those two offenses? Do you like the over under at all?
I could go under. If Notre Dame holds up their part on D. I think this is a pretty good matchup for their secondary. So, yeah, you could convince me on the under.
I just think Navy has to shorten this game to win it. There's no way they're going to they're going to do a track meet. And honestly, they're not even built for that. And neither is Notre Dame. Notre Dame wants to run the ball anyway and kind of pound them out anyway. So I got under all over this game. Can we want to do the under on this one?
I'll take it. I'm leaning on you.
Lean on the under. Love it. We have to bet every game. We're just going to do much as we can. Game day, UW at number 13 Indiana. Indiana's -6.5. Over under is 52.5. No Rourke, no Curtis Rourke for this game, which really makes me feel like this is kind of a stay away. But also, half of this team was from JMU. JMU had game day last year, be undefeated, and they lost to App State. And when game day went to Harrisburg, Virginia. So maybe all Kirk Cignetti and those JMU players are like, we got game day back. We can't lose again. That's kind of a silly storyline. I don't know if it exists. There's 13 JMU transfers on that team. The game day effect? I don't know. My general leaning is stay away, but do you love anything on the UW Indiana game?
No, when I first saw that, I was all over Indiana. And then finding out that, quarterback's out of game. I still think they win and cover, but yeah, I agree. It's probably stay away.
All right. So yeah, I'm gonna unofficially pick Indiana to cover.
Oh yeah, I'd take Indiana, but
even if I had to, but for the parlay, let's skip it. Number 20, Illinois at number 1, Oregon. Oregon's giving away 25 points.
Oh, it's up to 25 now. Good grief.
Or no, well, that's what it was when I wrote it. So maybe it's not. What is it? Oh, it was 25-21. So folks are pounding. Yeah. So folks are pounding Illinois plus 21. Illinois has never seen the caliber of athletes. Well, it's not really true. They played Penn State. You talk first. -21 in Outson, 54.5. What do you think?
That's a lot of points. I could see Oregon covering. I could see it being a closer game, but I don't think it's ever going to be more than, I think Oregon wins by a couple scores. So we're talking about the difference of does Oregon completely blow them out, or does Illinois get a late touchdown to make it a, 17-point win?
I think Luke Allmeyer is pretty good, and obviously he's been bad at spots, and I love Zachary Franklin, the UTSA transfer, the wide receiver. I think he's a playmaker as well. This seems like Illinois is going to try and slow it down. Brett Bielema likes to do that with his teams. I got Illinois plus 21 here. Can you get on board with that, or do you want to lay off?
I can get on board with that.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Like I said, I mean, I don't really see Oregon just running away with it just because, it's a Bielema coach team. They're going to be pretty sound. And even if it's on that edge, like I said, I think Illinois gets a late score to get that backdoor cover, like you said.
Number 11, BYU minus 1.5 needed a 1 minute, 75-yard touchdown to beat Oklahoma State last week. Remember that at UCF, 55.5. So calling a point. Why is BYU a 1.5 point favorite against UCF, which has not been great?
They've lost.
Oh, they're dogs now. They are dogs. Sorry. BYU is plus 1.5 now going on the road.
Are we taking BYU? Because I don't understand this line at all.
I don't understand that line either. So all the money has moved. So UCF replaced their quarterback. KJ Jefferson has got benched. The other guy is much faster. So I think they're doing more things with Gus Malzahn. I was actually going to go the other way. I kind of like UCF in the spot. They're playing them at UCF too. This is the kind of game where Gus Malzahn knows he is playing inferior athletes at BYU. No disrespect to the Mormons, Church of Latter-day Saints. You guys are all great, wonderful people, but I just don't think they have the speed. And I think this game is being played in Florida. BYU is undefeated. I get that, but the fact that money has moved so much in favor of BYU and UCF, and the new quarterback seems to have their offense playing a whole lot. KJ Jefferson can't move; he's slow as tar. This new guy's a whole lot faster. I like UCF to win this game.
I still don't trust BYU at all. Let's be clear, but this is a stay away game for me.
All right, cool. We'll stay away. Number 5, Texas, minus 18 at number 25, Vandy, 53.5 points. Texas hangover spot, snapback. Vandy, biggest game in maybe their history of their team.
Since 3 weeks ago.
Vanderbilt's capable of doing this. We saw it happen to Alabama. Although I'm not sure Alabama's on Texas's level.
Texas wins this game.
Texas
wins the game, obviously. Do they win by 3 touchdowns?
Do they win by 3 touchdowns? You're saying yes?
I don't know. I'm asking you. This is not one I would pick. I think Texas wins. I think Texas covers. No, I don't. Vandy. give me Vandy to keep it close.
Vandy keeps it close. All right, we're doing Vandy plus 18. I agree with you. All right, cool. Who's next? Number 21, Missouri at number 15, Alabama. Alabama's only a 2-touchdown favorite, minus 13.5. Alabama's broken on offense. They can do one thing, which is with the Ryan Williams. Justice Haynes and Jam Miller are mediocre by Alabama standards running backs. Any of the last 20 backs I'd rather have if I was Alabama than those guys. They are not effective. Offensive line is not effective. But I'm also really critical of Missouri. They needed a hospital trip miracle. Brady Cook coming back to beat a bad Auburn team at home. This screams stay away to me, but if you feel strong, I'm listening.
No, I have no idea what to expect about this game. I would take Bama. Bama's going to win. Whether they find their offense and hit a couple of those big plays, they could run away with it, but I haven't seen enough from them to know. Missouri's got a pretty good D. Don't really trust their offense going into Bryant-Denny. No. So this is definitely a stay away from me.
Okay, we're gonna get off it. I don't think Alabama wins and covers, but I don't know if they're gonna do that or not. Number 3, Penn State, minus 6.5 at Wisconsin, who looked really bad early season against USC and got the brakes beaten off by Alabama. Has won 3 in a row. Tyler Van Dyke is bad. He's hurt. He's out of the year. That's one of my worst takes. Remember when I said Tyler Van Dyke was going to win the Heisman? Believe it or not, that did not happen. Brendan Locke has been better, and Wisconsin is solid. 47.5 points is kind of low for this game. This has Big Ten slobber knocker written all over it. I think Camp Randall is going to be loud. I think both teams are going to pound the ball a lot. I don't know if Wisconsin covers, but the over under is 48. I love the under in this game. I got Big Ten, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, cold, methodical, 17 punts. Give me the under on this Wisconsin Penn State game.
I like Penn State to hit a couple big plays and cover. I like Penn State to win and cover. I think their offense is more explosive. I don't know if Wisconsin can hang around if they get pounded and then Juillar hits a couple of those over the top. I I think Camp Randall gets quiet and Penn State wins and covers. I don't know about the over/under. You'll have to convince me on that one.
Which is so even if that happens, let's say that happens. If that happens, that means they've shut down Wisconsin. So fine, maybe they win 35-7. That's still the under. I think the
Penn
under
State
is still,
covers and hits the under.
No, we can't do both. Because that cannibalizes. Do you feel stronger about Penn State covering or stronger about the under?
Penn State covering.
All right, fine, I'll ride with you. Penn State -6.5. Let's do it. All right, who's next? Cincy at Colorado. Colorado -4.5, over 57.5. Both teams 5-2. I was way wrong about Cincinnati. Scott Satterfield has much better coaching job than I thought. Brendan Sorsby, solid quarterback. Corey Kiner, former LSU running back. They're all been pretty good. However, Colorado is not messing around, and they've paid us twice. Both parlays have Colorado in there.
I was going to say that. We're on Colorado.
We're on Colorado.
Dealing with.
The spread has moved from -4.5 to -5.5, so the smarter people in the room love Colorado as well. I'm thinking Colorado wins and covers, -5.5.
I take Colorado to win. And
yes, sir. Let's go.
A lot of these I've been on the fence about. This one's a no-brainer for me.
Let's go Buffs. Good stuff. All right, Michigan State at Michigan. This is Michigan's fight for the season. Michigan is -5. Over under is 40.5. That is a low. 40 points is a low total for these teams. That was actually 40. Michigan State's getting 3.5. So money has come in on the under and Michigan State since I wrote this down. Aiden Childs is a good quarterback, getting better. John Smith is a good coach. Some things are cooking. This is a rivalry game. I got no strong feeling. What do you got?
I mean, if we're talking for the pod, I take Michigan to win and cover. Laying money, stay away from me.
Okay, we'll stay away. I hate bet back. I don't want to bet on Michigan ever again until I see a new quarterback on that team. I just don't want to have to rely on that offense for anything. That. All right, stay away from Michigan State. Will be a fun game to watch. Florida State at number 6, Miami. Miami is 21 points. Over under 54.5. I mean, I think Florida State is a shell of itself. This game is at Miami, although there'll be plenty of Florida State fans, and nobody goes to Hard Rock Stadium anyway. It's just a question of, like, does Miami want to cover? Do they want to cover against this team? And I don't actually know. You got any Miami, Florida State cover takes? What do you
got? If I had to bet on it, I would take Miami to cover.
Okay.
But I don't have to, so I'm not.
All right. I kind of want to take Miami to cover.
If you want to do it and we're in agreement, let's do it.
All right, we'll just do it. Miami to cover. Miami 21 cover. SMU, number 22, SMU -11 at Duke. Duke is 6-1, and their game is at Durham. I love SMU. I love what Kevin Jennings is doing. I love that offense. Rhett Lashley, they are murdering people. The BYU loss, which looked really bad at the time, actually looks pretty darn good now. They're undefeated, and SMU has been tearing folks up. I got SMU by a mile. I think they're going to beat
I like SMU.
Breaks off of Duke's. Any pushback on that one?
No, I think Duke has had a nice little season. They're a nice story, but they cannot hang with what SMU can do right now, and I agree with you.
All right, good stuff for adding. This will be a fat parlay this week. We're gonna make a pile
maybe
of
too
money.
many.
We're up to 9 legs. We're up to 9 legs.
That's
all right,
too much.
Okay, we only have three more games. Let's talk about. Wait, is Tennessee off this week? Okay, yep. 3 games to talk about. We can't bet on this anyway, but we'll talk about it quickly. Georgia Tech at Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech -10. Over under is 51.5. Georgia Tech is a nice story. I think their quarterback Haynes Kane is still hurt. I'm not really sure about that. And Virginia Tech seems to be hitting the stride. They've looked impressive 3 games in a row now. I'm including the Miami loss. It seemed like they found something.
I agree, yeah.
Stanford and BYU and Boston College, they took care of business. I got Virginia Tech at home covering, beating Georgia Tech soundly.
Same.
Cool. UNC at UVA. UVA -5. That's a good sign for UVA that Vegas seems to like them a little bit. 59.5. They're calling for some points. So if I could bet on this game, I would take UVA with confidence. I think UNC's business is terrible, and 59.5 is a solid over. So if you're out of state of Virginia, go ahead and pound that one. But do you have any?
I'm taking UVA for sure. UNC is just garbage, straight up garbage. And UVA, while is not one of the best teams in the conference, they're still solid. They've still shown some life. They can do some good things. So I'll take UVA on that. Easy.
This is also the only game the rest of the way that UVA will be favored in. They're going to be dogs in all of them. This is a very, very important 5th win. It is vital that UVA gets to a bowl this year to get the trend going the right way. This is a must win. Got to have it. Everybody in that locker room knows that. I think they get it down, UVA. All right, last one. LSU -8. This game should be the game day game. It's by far the best game. Sorry, LSU number 8 at Texas A&M, number 14. This line has moved a bit. I don't even know what it is right now. Let me check right now because I'm not even sure.
Yeah, this is the game of the weekend for me. I mean, we've got the two top teams in the SEC by conference wins and losses.
Both undefeated in conference. Love
yeah,
that.
Both undefeated. You're going into Kyle Field. This one is a complete mystery to me. To me, this is a pick 'em. Could go either way. Yeah. Texas A&M at home is tough. If I had to lean, if I'm looking at these two teams without seeing that purple and gold, I'd take A&M to win, honestly. But I'm a little biased, obviously.
Obviously I can't do that. So this is probably going to be a stay away game, which is okay.
Yeah, I would be fine with a stay away game. I could roll with you on LSU, but I do think it's a pick 'em game. It's gonna be a good one, man. It's gonna be a lot of back and forth. I think it really could go either way.
All right, let's stay away from that one. This parlay is big enough as is. We've already got 9 legs in, so let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and stay away. I think LSU is going to win, but don't listen to me. I'm an LSU fan. Of course, I'm going to
give me your quick advantage, LSU.
We are very well coached, and our pass protection has been outstanding. I think we've also gotten much better against the run. Le'Veon Moss, their running back, is really good. I think he's behind Sampson, he's one of the better backs in the SEC, and he's averaging a lot of yards. I think we're going to be really good at doing that. I think Mike Elko is a really good coach, and I think they're not going to make a lot of mistakes. Connor Weigman, for us to swing this game, Connor Weigman has multiple, in his last 7 starts, he had multiple INT games in his career. So he's had 2 or more INTs multiple times. This is the kind of game where I think that's going to happen. I think it's going to turn the table for LSU. I think Garrett Nussmeier is going to do what he does. LSU has playmakers on the outside for days. I think that's going to be true here. Or like that, a running ball is going to be really tough. I'm worried about that. But I think we're going to get some turnovers, and I think our defense is going to continue to get better because it has literally every week for 6 weeks, including Ole Miss and Arkansas, teams that are pretty good, and we've gotten better. So I think this defense is still getting better. I think his trajectory is still going up. I think A&M got a really good rushing attack. I think the quarterback is super flawed. So my general takeaway is that we are going to pick him off a couple times, and we are going to control the game. We're going to get a win.
I love it. Go Tigers.
But we shouldn't bet on it because I'm scared. I could be wrong.
Fair enough.
All right, that's enough. All right, so we've got a nine leg parlay. Boise State -3, Syracuse +5.5. The under on Notre Dame Navy 52, Illinois +21, Vanderbilt +18.5, Penn State -6.5, Colorado -5.5, Miami -20.5, SMU -12. 9-leg parlay, $10 to win you $3,417. Woo! So I'm excited for that. That is a monster payday.
That's a doozy, man. That's a doozy.
That is a doozy. So those are your picks. That's your parlay. We are 10:23 right now. We got to get out of here. That's all I got. Any other things you want to say, share, anything for the good of the order before we?
No, another fantastic week of college football coming at you sooner rather than later. Kicking off Thursday night with a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. Thursday and Friday night. Make sure you stay up late Friday night. I think you're probably looking at your G5 playoff team if it wins that game. So that'd be a really great game as well. Thank you to Matthew McConaughey for being Matthew McConaughey. You're just my favorite Texas fan
that
ever lived. You just the spirit.
Joining us on the pod.
Just the show. Really, really grateful for who you are. That's wonderful stuff. So thank you for that. Make sure you like, subscribe, give us that 5-star review, and start tailing us. We have made a lot of money. Matt Funkhauser, Elon Rockline, Renald Lawrence, Eric Risen.
Deion Sanders, baby.
These are people who
giving us that money.
These are friends of the Rad Dad from Hard Factor. These are guys who have tailed us, our action, and made money last 4 weeks, big money. So if you're not, we've won 2 of the last 4. If you're not a believer now, I don't know what's going to make you convince you. So make sure you are doing that as well. And when you do tail and when you do win, 1, you're welcome. 2, make sure you let us know about it so we can give you a shout out on the podcast.
And give ourselves a pat on the back.
And give us a pat on the back. That's all I got. All right, y'all. Check you later. Deuces. I tried to say deuces. I think I said sheeshes.
Even better.
Even better.
Sheeshes.
Sheeshes. Sheeshes from she shed. She said she shell for the seashore.
Hollywood go. Go. Hey, Hollywood. Hey, Hollywood
Anna gets
Code.
home tonight. Can't wait.
Go.
Good for you.
I'm excited.
Relieved of duty.
Here's all the children.